Welcome to Near Falls with D. Hall. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's just Near Falls with D. Hall. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. We're talking Near Falls with D. Hall. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into another edition of Near Falls with D Hall, a wrestling podcast. Today, so excited. This is the best time of year. My favorite project of the year, the 24-25 WPIAL Coaches Preview. So excited to bring this to you guys. I have a bunch of different coaches coming on from across the WPIAL. They're going to come on, talk about their schedule, expectations, up-and-comers, their leaders, their seniors, all that type of stuff. You guys know the drill. This is year 3 or 4 of me doing it. So pumped up to bring it to you guys. I really hope you enjoy it, and just hope you enjoy listening to these guys talk like I did. It was always a blast for me, and this year was no different. So without further ado, welcome in to the WPIAL Coaches Preview.
Welcome to the Near Falls WPIAL Show, where D.R. and Kaz are gonna tell you all the things you wanna know. Whether it's Trinity or Spencer Lee or Mr. Kurt Angle, just ask Vinny, where be at Ken and Mac for sure. They got the interviews to soothe your soul, because it's Near Falls in the WPIAL.
Okay, joining me now on the call, we have head coach of South Park Area High School, Mr. Brian Guzik. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Donnie. Thanks for having me, and thanks for looking out for Double A and obviously all the things you do on the podcast. Pretty awesome.
Appreciate you, man. And yeah, Double A has got a special place in my heart. Most of my family is actually from Freedom area, so I know a lot of those people up there, and I got a lot of love for the Double A side of things. Just a small school in general, man. It's good stuff. And anyone that has passion for wrestling wants to sit down with me, I'm always down for that. So let's get right into it, man. How about the off season? How does it look for you guys? Do you have the kids on the mat? You send them to club? What's it look like over there at South Park?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. We have, being a Double A school, you have multi-sport athletes, right? Otherwise you can't compete. So we actually just had our football team make it to the state semis. They unfortunately lost. So we're out like 72 up as we start the season. But off season wise, some of them are in other sports. We do have about half of our kids in club. They split pretty evenly between Schwa and then what Austin's doing up at OMP. So we have some good representation there on the club side. We try to do an open mat, once or twice a month through the off season. We had an off-season lifting program this year for the second time. So trying to get the kids stronger, trying to get them in the room a little bit, stay on the mat. We have a pretty small room. It's a converted choir room. So we definitely pack it in. This year we've moved to the aux gym and roll mats out every day, but it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, you guys have had some really tough monsters come through your program in the past. So obviously, Jake Wenzel and Greg Bolsack, I just was on a card with them not too long ago. But, those guys, they were wrestled a lot with my brother around that time. What are you doing to try to get back to that level or to keep pushing those guys to get to that spot? Because, you've had really great wrestlers, come along past them guys too.
Yeah, we try to leverage on tradition. So actually, my kids are on the team this year. They're 4th generation in South Park. I wrestled for South Park in '99, and oddly enough, we were at the Kickoff Classic, and Matt Levy was there, and him and I were the small school trios from Western PA. So we would, he was at 60 when I was at 89. So we'd warm up on the mat together, and catching up and having him meet my kids was pretty awesome. But all that's like tradition wise. So Greg will come back every once in a while. Jake will come back every once in a while. Be in the room, talk to the kids, run a practice for us. Joey Fisher's another one, state champion 2020,
of course.
Doing his thing up in Clarion. And, it's just a little different philosophy now where we're trying to get everybody to that level. If you rewind back, and part of the size of our room, we had 7 to 9 kids a year. I think in 2016, we tied for like 5th in the state, but didn't win a dual match because we only had like 5 or 6 guys. So, I mean, we're trying to, this year we got 25 kids on the varsity program. We moved up 11 from junior high. So as a AA team, we might fill every weight class. So we're super pumped about it. I mean, that's really the community, the support from the athletic director. I mean, my assistants have been awesome. And we really took a program in 2021 where they were thinking, do we want to do this wrestling thing anymore at South Park? And the AD reached out to me and says, hey, you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it as a volunteer. We got to move practices at night, 7 to 9. And it just turned into what it is today. We're pretty stoked. So, yeah, I think a lot of it's just getting the whole team there rather than maybe having 1 or 2 state champs. We want to compete at the dual level.
For sure. And then start of that, I mean, in itself, like for a AA school to have, like you said, all weights filled, that's a big deal, man. That's really exciting stuff. Talk to me, I know you touched on it. You said you had a great staff. Talk to me about your staff. Who's helping you out this year?
Yeah, so I started volunteering at the youth where my kids were 4, so now 10 years ago, and active on the South Hills Youth Wrestling Board, the Bethels, the Baldwins of the world. And that staff stayed with me when I came on. So Mike Cowan's an assistant, Dan Kirk's an assistant. We picked up Josh Idgems, who's a former City League champ that coached down in North Carolina, came back as a physics teacher. So we picked him up. We got volunteers. We had some individuals move into the district from outside. So Jacob Duncan, who wrestled at Ringgold before, Dave Barkey, who's wrestled before. So those guys are, volunteers in the room. Yeah, being part of the program. And, we had our kickoff classic yesterday and finished the highest we've ever finished as a team. So we finished 3rd out of the 12 teams, and had some hammers from Franklin in there. Like I said, I catched up with Levy, so it might as well have been a South Park Franklin duel. Sometimes we had a lot of our kids on the mat together. So it's a good and a bad thing. And you also, like you said, you were out some of those upper weight kids, right? Right.
I mean, in itself, you're going to keep getting better. That's all great stuff. Talk to me about the kids, man. Who's some of those leaders? Who's some of those seniors that are helping you out, leading the charge with the guys on the mat?
Yeah, so our seniors are football players, so we're looking forward to having them back in the room. Wyatt Markovich has been, up through youth, and even with us, he's been one of our strongest leaders. He's got like 80 some wins, so we're hoping he can get to 100 this year. Nice. Came off a strong season in football. We'll get his weight in check and see where he winds up. We also have a really strong heavyweight in Parker Cunningham. He actually signed with James Madison as a D1 football player, and their coach was super supportive of wrestling. And
I love that.
Yeah, said to him, "Hey,
awesome,
you can, man. Like, hey, you can lean down to 85, but come March, I want you back up to 300." So it'll be the second time, because Parker was with us last year, that I have to give diet advice to a heavyweight. So it's pretty cool.
But man, it's still cool to have that. Like, I've had the conversation a few times throughout the previews here. It's just football and wrestling are so hand in hand, and it's kind of some football coaches love wrestling, some football coaches hate wrestling. Obviously they take away from the time in that. But man, in general, you see some of these top linemen in the NFL. A lot of them are wrestlers. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I played for Pitt from 99 to 2002. And I think wrestling, I moved from linebacker to D-line, and a linebacker, obviously your tackling skills are 100% attributed to wrestling. My pressure keys as a defensive lineman, 100% attributed to wrestling. And actually, Parker's twin brother, Troy, is going to come out this year for his senior year, because all the conversations he's had, he's also being recruited at the D1 level, hasn't made a decision yet, but said, hey, wrestling's going to help you be a better football player. So we're, again, super excited for those kind of things. And being a small school, one little nick, one little bruise, if you can have 2 weights deep, you can really make a difference. So
that's a big deal for sure. And, it's nice to have practice partners, especially 2 brothers probably beating the crap out of each other.
Other than me, right? In my 40s, it's tough to get on the mat with those guys.
Yes, it gets to be a different level when some of those bigger kids get a hold of you,
right.
For sure. Talk to me about the other side of that coin, man. Freshmen, newcomers that maybe are breaking into your lineup that we might look up at WPIAL or regional and say, hey, that dude he has a chance.
Yes, we have coming out of our junior high, we have 1 state qualifier. Jake Guzik is one of my sons, so he's tough kid, lightweight. We'll go at it.
What weight we thinking?
He'll float between 7 and 14, depending upon how his body changes. I mean, these freshmen, they're growing still too, so that's always the tough thing. The whole gift
Wrestling
of
season's long too, buddy. Really long.
It is. I mean, they're, as you know, they're growing out of shoes. They're definitely growing out of weight classes at the same time. So you got Jake, you got Lucas, my other son, anywhere from 27 to 39. I mean, he's super tall, moving. You got Marshall Kirk, who's another son of the coaches. And I got a couple kids that go to clubs like Carl Riley and Sean Lynch. I mean, I have, like I said, 11 kids coming up from junior high. Nice. And this is one of the first years where the junior high fills the holes that we had in high school. So I got my older guys that are in the upper weights, and I got some of the younger guys at the lower weights. So we're excited about that crop. Years past, again, this is, when I wrestled in the 90s, this is all super just different. And having to declare your junior high and your, that ninth grade declaration to me is just, I don't quite support, like, hey, you should be able to float. Like, if I understand like wrestling up and then pushing down, but last year I found myself in a situation. I had 2 or 3 ninth graders that I had 2 guys hurt at 45, and I'm wrestling varsity in an open weight class, and I got a 45 pounder sitting in junior high. I can't move them up. So I get it. I get that's the rule. But so we've made a decision as a coaching staff where, all of our ninth graders, you're wrestling varsity, because we're not, again, that deep, and you get 1 or 2 nicks, that you're up. So excited about those guys.
On the other side of that, talking about rule changes, give me your thoughts on, the out of bounds rule change, the point change rule change, all those things. Just give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, different game. I mean, I noticed it big time yesterday at the kickoff classic, and kudos to Valley and Banco for running that. I know it's tough right after the holidays, tough for the kids, but super tough for the people that put it together. Ton of tech falls. Wow, I was shocked. I mean, definitely we had Franklin. We had some, really tough kids from, all schools. Shaler and Greensburg Salem had some tough games. So you're getting a little bit of the level differentiation, but man, you get 4 takedowns and 2 tilts, you're done. It's it. So I think that's going to change things a little bit as far as, as you're going through the season. Typically, it takes 3 periods. Guys will try to get work in, those type of things. It's going to happen fast. It also helps kids come back. I've seen a couple matches, down 9-1. Next thing you know, you blink and it's 10-9 because you get a takedown and a near fall. You're right back in it. So I think the rule change is going to make it a little bit more action, a little fast paced, and it's going to change how we coach too. A 4-0 lead isn't as big as you think it is, particularly as you move farther into the sections.
What about, did you see any of like the out of bounds stuff? As I don't know how they had it set up. I wasn't there. But I assume they're going to need more room around the edges of the mats. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. That's one where I do think the refs did a really nice job yesterday and the coaches, again, maybe being the first one. We had some younger kids in there, maybe just, trying to get them exposure and experience to the varsity level. But I mean, they were calling it quick. They were letting them wrestle, but at the same time, you didn't have much room, particularly trying to get 3 mats in one gym, and not everybody has the benefit of having these massive facilities. So yeah, you got to really protect the wrestlers. And I would just say as coaches, we got to own that, right? And not be all upset if somebody calls something pretty close to the mat, because in the end, you want to have the safety of the kids in mind.
That's a good thought for sure. Okay, last thing. Well, not last thing. I got a couple more things, obviously, but the last thing, I guess, on rule changes. Are you guys a part of the county tournament, the Allegheny County tournament?
We are. Yeah.
Are you going to utilize the 3 free points? Or I know that's been an interesting topic of discussion for me with most of the guys this year.
Yeah, it is. We're in the Allegheny County tournament. It was not given the waiver for the 3 points. So we were going to reinvest that into a Christmas tournament. We're not now.
Gotcha.
It's to me, we want to build equality here. Like, that doesn't do it. And we're trying to create we're trying to do a small school duel on January 4th at our place. We're asking some of these schools, they're like, yeah, we got points, but like, we're at Tricada, so we get free points there. So we're not going to pull out of there and take 3 points for yours. And I don't know. I continue to, if we're doing this for the protection of the kids and the number of matches, like, why have these loopholes in there? And I get the Bishop McCourt and how they, everyone wants to try to compete with the Bassett's of the world, which I think I saw 3 of his commercials on TikTok this morning. But I mean, that's the world we live in. So we're going to have to kind of navigate through all that and, continue to promote the sport. And like I said, in the end, we want to protect the kids and their bodies, because hopefully some of these will be wrestling for, 8 years to come in college and competing there.
Yeah, man, I think that's a good thought for sure. Is, at the end of the day, it is all about the kids and protecting the best interest of them. So back to the kids. What do you let them get into, man? What room games do you let them play? Dodgeball, kickball? What's going on over there, Southport?
Yeah, we're definitely a dodgeball. We do rapid fire dodgeball, we call it. So we get like 4 or 5 small balls in the room, and you got to be nimble. And watch you don't get pegged. As soon as you get pegged, you run over, you pump out 5 push-ups, you're back in. Try to keep everybody moving and build a little bit of strength. We'll do some foxtail every once in a while, so stick a little shirt in the back, and we get some fun alliances, and then people revolt on each other. So we do that sometimes to bring up the spirit a little bit. As you know, we talk a lot about embracing the grind and what it is, both beginning of the season. We tend to see it at the end, particularly with us if we're not in the WPIAL duels. We have a little bit of a lag there, so we'll try to play some games, bring back some alumni during that time, and get the spirits up a little bit. It's a grind for the wrestlers. It's also a grind for the coaches.
You get in there, play with them, fire off some shots.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll pop in. Typically when the heavyweights are back, we got 3 of them, so I'll be the 4th, and we try to split up for weights. My knee's not what it used to be, so I gotta be careful. I want to invest that knowledge in dodgeball or on the mat. So I tend to, but they always find a way to hit us, the coaches.
I'm sure. Yeah, just a random stray, right?
That's right.
Okay, so we touched a little bit on your schedule, but give me the rest of your schedule. How's it look like for you this year? Has it changed from last year now that you're getting this influx of young freshmen? Just break it down for me.
Yeah, so definitely changed significantly. We got in this kickoff classic. Historically, we do the Carrick duels, which is an awesome thing that the Carrick staff puts on. We committed to that. My gosh, it's probably been over for a decade now. So we continue to go to that. We have the Southmoreland tournament. We're doing Burgettstown this year, trying to get exposure to some upper level. And then we have the Allegheny counties, which again, we participated in that in quite some time. And then we're going to do our own little duels on January 4th, trying to get a couple more in there. Make it, like a smaller school type duel, try to get, the AA schools that maybe have a little bit more full of a roster and trying to compete there. So, to me, it's a good balance, a tournament. We got some duels in there, trying to get some matches for the younger kids, especially. Those duels give them an automatic 4 or 5 matches that they can compete rather than, sometimes going 0-2 in some of these bigger tournaments.
Yeah, for sure. And that seems to be the name of the game early in the year for a lot of these coaches and a lot of you guys I'm talking to, is just getting these guys matches, as many as possible, and getting them mat time, and then seeing where you're at, and then, adjusting and going from there. But yeah, it's always an interesting question to see how you guys build your schedule. Yeah. Okay. Give me your goals and expectations you have for this squad. I know you have, like you said a couple times, it's a young squad, but potentially a deep squad. Just give me what you think.
Yeah, we like to round it out. One, we want to win a section match. Last year we weren't able to win a section duel, so that's first and foremost. We set ourselves, let's win the first section duel. Second would be to win a section, and then the next is make a difference in the WPIAL duel tournament. We've never had a deep run. I think we've won 1 match in the WPIAL tournament probably in the history of the school. So just being able to compete. We set ourselves up a couple of years ago and saw what Quaker did, and coming from not a whole lot of anything to being WPIAL champs and upsetting the big mighty Burl. And we want to start to be a topic of that conversation. We got a lot of good kids, good character. We talk a lot about the 3 phases of a wrestling match. You got to beat the scale, you got to beat yourself, and then finally you got to beat the opponent. So we try to talk a lot about the mental side of the game.
I love that. That's good. I don't know if I've ever heard that, but that's fantastic.
Yeah. So we definitely talk a lot about that. We talk about weight loss, weight management, and doing it the right and safe way. And like I said, those are our goals. And we want the kids to be the best version of themselves. We're not going to have a room full of Balsics and Wenzels and Fishers. And, we have some plaques on the wall of, state qualifiers, state place winners, and they don't even have to be that. Some of them just got to be the best version of themselves. We got a couple kids that are just, they work really, really hard, and they may not win a state championship one day, but they're going to be a really good wrestling group. So
I love that. Good wrestlers make good people. There's no doubt about it. Okay. Social medias. How can we follow your squad this year?
Yeah, as I'm going into this, shout out to Mike Cowan, my assistant. He does all of our social media stuff. So we got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You just Google the handles. I don't know them off the top of my head, but he posts, yesterday our kickoff classic results. He does a really good job of writing that up. his daughter Caitlin Cowan supports him on the graphic side and putting some cool animations and stuff in there. So we're a family type group where everybody kind of chips in, helps out. Our youth program super supportive of us. We got a ton of like I said, we had 11 junior high coming up. We got roomfuls of youth that are involved in the sport, and we also have our girls wrestling team for the first time in the history of South Park. So we got 2 girls on the team, Anna Duncan and Aubrey Tabak, that did a really good job yesterday at the kickoff classic as well too. So again, super excited, and you'll see all of them on our social media profiles and posts and promoting our school, what we're doing.
I love that. The family affair over there for small school South Park. You got to love that for sure. Anything or anyone you want to shout out before I leave you go, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I got to shout out to my wife because I'm pretty much absent from the start of wrestling season.
Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah. And God willing till the middle of March. So definitely can't leave her out. But, the boosters have been awesome. My assistants are amazing. I got a pretty taxing role in work, and they pretty much handle a ton of the stuff, so we can come into the room, get work done, and move forward. So just shout out to them, the boosters, our youth program, Mark Dorn, continues that presence in the South Hills Youth Wrestling League and building those relationships and making the kids better. So
very good stuff. Thank you so much for your time, my friend, and I will see you out there very soon.
Awesome, Donnie. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
My man.